this to us with Miami Dolphins.
The pressure, he's in trouble. Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it!
You have got to be kidding me.
Jalen Waddle. It's a Dolphin touchdown.
Throwing deep upfield on the near side. Man open. Touchdown! Looking deep. He's got a man. Touchdown!
The run from Tua Tagovailoa.
Touchdown!
He's going deep. He's got it for the touchdown.
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan.
Let's go!
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for yet another one. I hope everyone is having a fantastic Monday. It's got to be better than it was last night, no matter what's going on right now. I mean, unless your dog died or a family member died or someone came down with an illness, I mean, it's got to be better than what it was last night, right? You know what I mean? Unless you walked in and, you know, your spouse was with someone else, I think you're doing better than what you were last night. So I hope everyone, you know, we're all feeling it. So I hope everyone is, hey, coping the best they can because, you know, as a creator, it's obvious, you know, the difference between, you know, just interaction and everything like that when the team loses to when they win is, you know, it's vastly different. So, hey, you know, I know it's a tough one, but, you know, we're going to get into it here because I got a little bit of a rant I got to get into. And you probably saw on the thumbnail, the main question, and, you know, it's also in the title. You know, are the Dolphins frauds? That's something that, for some reason, some people on Dolphins Twitter have been pushing this narrative yesterday that, and for some reason, if we lost to the Chargers, we were frauds. And I think that's letting emotions get in the way of the Herbert versus Tua matchup, which is, might I remind everyone, it's 1-1. Now, let's get deeper into this. You know, are the Miami Dolphin frauds? And, you know, first of all, no. This team is 8-5. They're not 5-8 with this roster. Okay. Now, there's various things going on right now. Okay. The last 2 weeks, Tua has not been good. McDaniel, the last 2 weeks, has been outcoached. McDaniel, the last 2 weeks, has been stubborn. And Tua has been struggling on his own. And McDaniel, his lack of adjustments, his game planning, and his play calling have just heightened those struggles. It's just one big compounding result. This team is now officially, we faced adversity with Tua out, but now we're facing a little adversity with Tua in. The glaring thing to all of you guys should be, listen, we didn't just get, like, it's not like two top 10 defenses just came in and run a schmuck to us. But you're gonna say, but Reason, the second defense that came in, that makes it even worse because the second defense that came in wasn't very good. Well, hear me out. You had a top 10 defense. You had a defensive coordinator in Ryans from San Francisco. They set a game plan, right? And their game plan was to clog the middle of the field. You heard Fred Warner after the game, you know, say that they didn't really expect us to run the football. They were focused more on coverage. They were buck dropping, Tampa 2, giving us all those different looks. The only really wrinkle that these guys added was they were pressing at the line and they were running man. Now, you'll see in the All-22, I'm sure, when we break it down tomorrow, me and Martin, our guys were getting rerouted. You know, Jalen Waddle, you know, I was told today he's been battling injury, but on top of that, he's not meant, you know, those guys, you know, Jalen Waddle is meant to go into motion, not Trent Sherfield. Jalen Waddle is meant to go into motion so he can get the release. not to fight through jams and bumps and reroutes. That's not his style. And when you're a timing-based offense, all the rerouting, all the bumping, all the jamming yesterday, what did that do? That threw off the timing. Now, another thing too. You know, we talked about this on the channel a couple of days ago. You got to be lucky to be good, good to be lucky. Look at our luck. Waddle and Hill, especially Hill, lose 2 different balls in the lights. Hill, if he doesn't lose that thing in the lights, he's gone. It's like there's some just, like, you know, it's just like there's some weird, ever since the second half of the Texans game, there's been some kind of weird vibration and energy that's just been off with this team. I don't know what it is. But I do know the fact that a worse defense followed the game plan and the blueprint and just tweaked it to their scheme. That's all they did with the man and the press. All they did was they tweaked it to their scheme. Right? They still focused on clogging the middle and taking away. They had safeties overhanging tightly. They had the linebackers underhanging by dropping back, buck dropping, whatever they had to do. And they were still and they had pretty tight coverage. So they were still, now the windows were made tighter. All right? Now, were there still plays to be made? Sure. And Tua delivered on it. And, you know, it started off in that first drive. Put it right on Waddle's hand in tight coverage. Waddle didn't make the catch. Put it right into Tyreek's hands on third down, right through Tyreek's hands. You know? In a rhythm and timing based offense, you got to get that rhythm going early on. And, you know, for the second week in a row, the opponent did what we should have done. What you saw yesterday, listen, all the Chargers did was they took the defensive game plan and they tweaked it to their man coverage. That's all. That's it. They took the 49ers game plan and tweaked it to their defensive scheme. They did the same thing offensively. They took the high percentage, and you'll see. I was on the phone with someone today, and I pulled up the next gen charts, passing charts, to get it ready for tonight. Let me do the quick count for y'all before we even get into it tonight, just so I can tell y'all. This man, Herbert, threw the ball 51 times yesterday. 51. Okay? Only 8 of those passes were beyond 15 yards. I'll do even better. You want to hear even better? I'll do even better. All right? Only 14 of his 51 were beyond 10 yards. They kept it and 2 of those were right at the 10-yard sticks. They kept it simple. They gave him high percentage throws. What's the difference between the Chargers and him? Herbert's much more physically gifted, has a much better arm than Brock Purdy. So, what did they do? What did they do? That tells you, for over 30 passes, about 35 passes, was in front of the sticks. And what were they doing? Drawing us up. And then when you got an arm like Herbert, boom, look at how open Keenan Allen was when they went to the sideline. Look at Mike Williams made the hardest catch of the night, and all he had to do was outmuscle Xavier Howard. Other than that, everything was easy peasy open. Palmer open. Everyone was open. And it was because they drew us up, and then they let that big arm go when they drew us up. Now, albeit Justin Herbert at the same time, let's be honest here, it's not like he was lights out beyond 10 yards. He still missed, 6 of them? So, yeah, he missed 6 of the 14 beyond 10 yards. So it's not even like he was lights out. But he's got a more threatening arm than Brock Purdy. That arm could do more things. That first down throw along the left sideline to Keenan Allen, that laser, Brock Purdy can't do that. But he could do that. And by pulling everyone up, it allows him to do that. It gives him the windows. And again, for the second week in a row, McDaniel and the two in the offense do not adjust to okay. Beyond the sticks, pushing to the middle of the field is not working. We need to take the easy stuff, what they're giving us underneath, and run the football. And then, once we get a rhythm and we get guys pulling up, listen, how do you expect to get defenders off their landmarks if you're not keeping them honest to the run? They had Kenneth Murray dropping back and making plays. McDaniel, we're seeing, and listen, guys, people have been trying to take the middle of the field away from us since the Ravens game. We've made adjustments throughout the year. For some reason, the last two games, McDaniel is not making an adjustment. And I don't know what the stubbornness. Brother, if you were trying to push the ball for Tua to be the MVP, that ship has sailed. Get the W. I don't give a crap about the individual stats. Run the football. You're being so detrimental to this offense. Do you think we are going to win a playoff game with the 32nd or the 31st or the 30th ranked run game in the NFL? They're calling for 7 inches of snow this weekend in Buffalo. You've had the Texans and you've had the Chargers just recently in the last 3 weeks to get the run game correct. And now you could be going into a game on Saturday night where there's 7 inches of snow, and guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to run the football. And you have not set this team up to be prepared for a game like that. Yet, when we get the balance, look at what we did to the Cleveland Browns. When we ran the football, we found the balance between running the football and throwing the football. Look at what we did to the Cleveland Browns. Look at what we did when we found that balance. Listen, we're not even 60-40 people. We're one-dimensional. That's what it's turning into right now. And this is a problem. Even, I don't care who you are. You could be Aaron Rodgers. When you turn into a one-dimensional defense and they can just drop back and expect pass, you're going to get figured out. The windows are going to get extremely tight to where you're going to have to be flawlessly accurate on like majority of your throws, which even for Drew Brees would even have a problem being flawlessly accurate if you're going to throw 36 times into those kind of windows. Like, go look at it. How many teams in the last 20 years have won Super Bowls without a run game? And what's crazy is, if they didn't have a run game, their running back was still a Christian McCaffrey or an Eckler in terms of they could catch the football or they could run the football. Or it was a committee, i.e. what the Chiefs did with the committee. They had Damian Williams in that whole committee, and look at what Damian Williams did in the Super Bowl game that they won. Damian Williams was one of the biggest factors of the Chiefs actually winning that game. Thank you very much. The Patriots. Since the early 2000s, they went out and got Corey Dillon. Look at these. People try to tell me all the time, and I keep laughing at them, that they don't spend capital on running back. What are you talking about? Ramondre Stevenson, go look where he was drafted. Damian Harris, go look where he was drafted. Sony Michel, go look where he was drafted. They spend capital on the run game. and not getting the run game right. And remember, this was one of the best things I highlighted about bringing in McDaniel. Well, I said we're finally going to have a run game. It's finally going to happen. Because it don't matter if it's Tua, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. I don't care who it is you got back there. Run game going to help. Aaron Rodgers. Look at what they've given him. Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. He's always had a run game, Aaron Rodgers. Always had a run game. John Elway. When did John Elway start winning his Super Bowls? Terrell Davis. No one wants to talk about it because everyone just wants to talk about Montana and Rice. 49ers had a damn good run game. Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman was not a world beater quarterback. Emmitt Smith. Ben Roethlisberger. Jerome Bettis. Peyton Manning. Edgerrin James. Like, and I'm not saying we need a top, but you gotta have if you are going to highlight the middle of the field, you have to keep the linebackers honest. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, we got to start asking the question, is X starting to fall off? He's been asked to take on more responsibility. Like, he's been traveling this year much more than he has because Byron's not in, and he's been struggling mightily. You know, the reality is if Tua keeps struggling like how he's been doing, if he struggles like this in Buffalo, people are going to be, you know, it's going to start undoing all the good he's done this year in people's eyes. Watch, I'm calling it right now. You already got people going out on him right now. What do you think's going to happen? I mean, and back to that press and bump, you know, the press and then the bump and run, exposing Tyreek and Waddle's lack of ability to win physical matchups at the line. Those weren't even first stringers on top of that. And look at how easily they were rerouting our guys. Look how easily they were throwing the timing of our offense off. Right at the line of scrimmage, no problem. And Waddle, I expected. Tyreek is built, I felt like, to fight through that physical at the line of scrimmage. Right? Like, you know, not just Tua. What was happening at the line of scrimmage was screaming for an adjustment. You know, stop sending guys like Sherfield in motion. Get these guys in motion to get their releases if they're having problems at the line of scrimmage. Like, even the releases at the line of scrimmage for the receivers were screaming adjustment, 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 and we didn't adjust. You know, and the reason why I can't hop on the fraud bandwagon, because a lot of y'all claiming that we're frauds. If we go into Buffalo this week and, hey, based off what we looked the last 2 weeks, yeah, there's not much reason to expect us to go in and win in Buffalo, but any given Sunday, and we've already done it once, and they had 93 offensive snaps, and if there's 7 inches of snow, anything can happen. I better not see Tua throw 36 times if there's 7 inches of snow falling, though. But if we beat Buffalo, y'all be on the bandwagon again. All of y'all who are calling them frauds, if we beat Buffalo, y'all will be right back on the bandwagon. You'll be right back on it. Because you know the chances of us just running the rest of the table on the 3 games remaining are right there. And then all of a sudden, we're a 12-win team. Now, if we go out and look like how we've looked the last 2 games in Buffalo, oh boy. We gotta have it might be time to have that conversation. It might be time to have that conversation. And I gotta say this too. People taking victory laps when we lost, you know, on your little Tua narratives and agendas. And listen, you should be ashamed. You should be pissed off. You should be foaming and seething at the mouth. You shouldn't be texting people with little smiley emojis, and you shouldn't be, you know, grinning like the Grinch who stole Christmas. I'm like, are you real fans? We lost. It's about the W. Be mad and bitter Tua played awful, but don't be happy he did, because it's one of the big reasons we've lost 2 straight. Him and McDaniel shoulder a lot of the blame the last 2 weeks. And let's be honest, I noticed it during the stream, and I went back and watched yesterday. Where were the refs on the false starts on the Chargers? Holy, that right tackle was false starting almost like every other snap. My Lord, and there were no flags. But listen, people taking victory laps when we lost, you should be ashamed. You should be mad. Listen, when I'm right about something that has a negative impact on our team, and you hear me talk about it, what's the first thing you always hear me say? I wish I was wrong. I get mad. When my keys of victory end up being right because we didn't execute any one of them and they end up being reasons why we lost, I did it last week. I wasn't happy. I wasn't taking victory laps. I was mad because I want the W. I'm here. I'm a Dolphin fan. Sure, I love Tua. Sure, I love Tyreek. Sure, I love Jalen Waddle. I love McDaniel. But I need dubs, baby. I need dubs. So, when I predict something that's going to have a negative impact or outcome on this team, and then I'm right, you know, dude, I don't even take victory laps. I tell all y'all I'm mad that I'm right. I hate that. We lost 2 straight, man. There ain't no time to be giddy about agendas. Even if Tua was balling out right now, you think I'd care about him balling out if we lost 2 straight? Man, I care about the fact that we lost 2 straight and we're now 8-5 when we were 8-3. That's what I would care about. Bro, I don't care. Dude, at the end of the day, I put like $25 down on this guy to win the MVP. Keep your 25. I don't care. Even if I put 100 down, I don't care. Give me Super Bowl MVP. What is regular season MVP? I've said this before, too. Super Bowl MVP is the one that I want him to win, not regular season MVP. And if you actually look at it, go look at how many regular season MVPs the year they won the regular season MVP. Go look at how many of them actually won the Super Bowl the year they won the MVP. Not many. Not many. People actually don't realize that. Go look at how many people have actually won the MVP in the Super Bowl in the same year. Very, very short list. Recently, at least. So, listen. Even if this man was balling, he could get back to balling the next 4 games. 300, 400-yard games, 3 touchdowns, and our defense collapses and we lose. Bro, I don't care about the yards. I don't care about the tubs. Even Tua, you heard Tua when Mike McDaniel was mic'd up. Even he don't care about the yards. He just cared about the tubs. So, that's where I'm at. Are we frauds? No. Because we still have the Buffalo game to play. Are y'all really going to call us frauds if we go from not beating Buffalo in 3 years to we could potentially sweep them this year? And what if we do it in their conditions? That, remember, 7 inches of snow sent them to Detroit. Just saying. I will say this, when I hear that we got heaters on the sideline yesterday and it's 52 degrees, 55 degrees out, that worries me. But listen, I think we got, if Jeff Wilson is okay, I think we got the run game. If it's, because listen, it's not like the run game is saying it's just crap. We're not even committing to it. We're not even giving it a chance. Unreal, man. Unreal. I will say one thing, though, and they do got to find this in the draft. We do need that Eckler McCaffrey. We do need that guy who catching the football or running the football out of the backfield. He's a little evasive, and he can be a legit safety valve. You know what I mean? Like a legit, reliable safety valve. This offense, because, you know, this offense is built for someone like that to come out of the backfield. We didn't have the draft pick this year. They wanted Rachaad White. Look at how Rachaad's coming on with the Bucks, and everyone knows how high I was on Rachaad White. There's guys this year, though. There's guys this year in this draft. So, listen, I don't think we're frauds. We've turned Saturday night into must-win, though. Saturday night is a must-win game for their confidence alone. For this team to get back on the right track with their confidence alone, Saturday's a must-win game. You got to go to handle business. You got that. A win could right this ship like that. Because I'm telling you right now, the confidence that could come from a win like this, those 2 games could be seen as a hiccup. And you got 3 games to continue to build off of a win in Buffalo against opponents we should beat anyways. So I truly believe Saturday night is a must-win on confidence alone. And you got to get Tua and this offense's rhythm going early. And you got to start showing them stuff they haven't seen yet. If you got to become check down Charlie to move the football, so be it. If you got to be check down Charlie to pull defenders up so you can make your plays over the middle of the field or over top of the defense, play the long game. Because you know what? Check down Charlie, all it's going to do is to give us time of possession. That's all it's going to do. And this offense is built where the football isn't supposed, especially the passing game, shouldn't touch the ground. So, listen, all I can say is handle your business this weekend. That's it. You put yourself in a position where, listen, you got to win 3 of the to guarantee you're in, you got to win 3 of the next 4. To make it rough on yourself, you got to win 2 of the next 4. So let's see what we got. All right, let's get into the snap counts for today. These were the snap counts for yesterday on the Dolphins offensive side of the football. For me, I'm hearing privately that Waddle is quite banged up and fighting through it, but he's playing quite the snap count. I'll tell you that much. Freddie Swain comes in and he only gets 7 snaps, even with Jeff Wilson going down. Salvon Ahmed only got 5 snaps, so that just means Mostert's workload increased, went up to 73%, one of his highest, if not the highest, of the year. Look at Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, because of the ankle injury, his snaps went down to 34 out of 51. Clearly affected. Durham Smythe, clear, far, and away, tight end 1. Even Alec Ingold has the same amount of snaps as Gesicki. Cedric Wilson saw a little bit of an uptick in usage to what we've seen recently, but hey, didn't do much with it, did he? Smash that like button, guys. Subscribe if you are new. Appreciate all of you for coming through. Let's get into the defensive snap counts, and this is what we got. Kader Kahu, Xavier Howard, CB1, CB2. Jerome Baker back up to that high snap count like we've seen in past years. Zach Seiler, Christian Wilkins neck and neck at snap counts, and they were pretty, Zach Seiler, Christian Wilkins, and Jalen Phillips were our best defenders yesterday, I thought. And you see their snap counts right there. Eric Rowe, look at that. Eric Rowe locking in the box safety spot once again. Bradley Chubb outsnapped by Jalen Phillips, our primary edge rusher. It's been converted. It is Phillips right now. He is the star of the show. Other interesting things here. You see Raekwon Davis only getting about 45% of the snaps, while John Jenkins got a healthy 20%. They still managed to get McKinley working in there. He saw 20% of the snaps. Duke Riley manages to get in there, and Eli Campbell getting 31 of the snaps. Again, Andrew Van Ginkel not seeing very many snaps in a contract year. You remember that one play where he over pursued the strip sack instead of playing the body, and it cost us on one of the plays. So Andrew Van Ginkel clear far and away down the totem pole. I mean, look at even 17 less snaps than Melvin Ingram, and Melvin Ingram you would view as a stopgap, while AVG as a potential future piece. But this shows you either they're trying to plummet his value into the ground so he's cheap to re-sign, or they're just going to move off of AVG at the end of the year. Whatever the case may be, interesting to say the least. All right. Now, let's get into the PFF grades. This is what we got here. On offense, this is what it looked like. Jalen Waddle, your top guy. 67.8. Ouch. We didn't have anyone break 70s. Tyreek Hill, 66.8. Connor Williams, 65.3. Taron Armstead, a 65.2. And then Cedric Wilson, a 64.8. Wow, that's painful. Bottom guys, Alec Ingold at a 45.4. Jeff Wilson at a 46.7. Durham Smythe at a 47.8. Brandon Shell at 49.7. And Tua Tagovailoa as a 49.7. Tua, Jalen, and Tyreek all have their lowest grades of the season. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Not good at all. Let's get into how the blocking looked. So they only credited the Dolphins with 6 pressures allowed. I mean, I don't know. I counted more than that. They got 2 to Shell, 2 to Jones, and then 1 to Armstead, 1 to Hunt. Yeah, I don't know about that. Like, that seems a little bit of a suspect number right there, 6 pressures. I'm not going to lie. Not going to lie. That seems a little suspect. So, they only attributed them with six pressures allowed. So, let me see something here. Hold on. Yet, when you go to the LA Chargers defensive grades, it says they had 15 pressures. So where are the 9 extra pressures? Look at right there. Look at Khalil Mack had 5 pressures by himself. Look at down here, 15 pressures. So where's the extra pressures? Because when you go to blocking, it said Tua. How many did they put any pressures on Tua? Are they saying Tua created all? Tua's here. They could put pressures on Tua if they wanted. Right? They could put hurries or sacks on him, and they haven't put anything on him. So where are the extra 9 pressures? See? That doesn't add up. I just literally showed you that it didn't add up. They don't explain where these 9 extra pressures are. Again, when we go to LA, when we go to their defense, when we go to their pressures, it says they had 15 pressures. 2 sacks, 2 hits, 11 hurries. But when you go to our blocking, we allowed 2 sacks, no hits, and only 4 hurries for 6 sacks. Where are the extra pressures? Someone want to explain this one to me? Because they're not listing them to Tua. Tua's right at the bottom there, and they're not listing it to him. Anyways. Let's get into the passing numbers. They must be putting them on Tua. I gotta assume. So we go over this every week because theirs is always different than next gen stats. They had Tua only completing one pass beyond 20 yards. They had him 1 for 7. And then they had him 2 for 6 at the intermediate level. So he had 13 attempts. And then they had him 5 for 8 short. And then they had him 2 for 3 behind the line of scrimmage. So when Tua was kept clean, he was 7 of 20 for 1 touchdown, a 35 completion percentage. His adjusted completion percentage was 35. Under pressure, he was 3 of 8 for 37.5%. His adjusted completion percentage when he was under pressure, it actually should have been 100%. He should have been perfect under pressure. Now, you look at the average depth of target. When he was kept clean, it was 13.8, so that's healthy, while the yards per attempt was 6. And you look at average depth per target, it was 8.3 when he was when he's kept clean, it was 13.8 average depth of target, and a 6 yards per attempt. Under pressure, it was 3.3 yards per attempt. And his average depth of target dipped to about 8.3. So, yeah. Tua on play action, 1 for 8. Ugly. On straight dropbacks, 9 for 20. Unreal. Tuh. Crazy. Not good. Not good at all. Defense. These were your grades defensively. Christian Wilkins and Jalen Phillips are studs. If you didn't know, now you do. 91.3 and an 89.7. 74.5 for Van Ginkel. 72.4 for Jerome Baker. And a 69.8 for Zach Seiler. Keon Crossan was your worst graded defender at a 49.7. Bradley Chubb at a 50.7. Came in at number 2. Javon Holland, number 3 at a 52.1. Kader Kohu at number 4 at a 53.5. And then Xavier Howard, number 5 at a 55.5. Ugly. Coverage matchups. This should be fun. Kader Kohu, he was targeted 15 times. He allowed 11 receptions for 83 yards and 4 first downs and a touchdown. And he also had a drop by Joshua Kelly. Eric Rowe, he was targeted 6 times, allowed 6 receptions for 45 yards and 3 first downs. Jerome Baker targeted 5 times, allowed 5 receptions for 35 yards and 2 first downs. Xavier Howard targeted 5 times, allowed 5 receptions for 106 yards and 3 first downs. Keon Crossan targeted 5 times, allowed 3 receptions for 36 yards and 3 first downs. Duke Riley targeted 3 times, allowed 2 receptions for 14 yards. Also, Gerald Everett had a drop when targeting Duke Riley. Landon Roberts targeted 3 times, allowed 3 receptions for 20 yards. Javon Holland targeted twice, allowed 2 receptions for 11 yards. Andrew Van Ginkel targeted once, allowed 1 reception for -1 yards. Jalen Phillips targeted once in coverage, allowed 1 reception for 18 yards and a first down. Not pretty. Not pretty. No one made plays on the football to a guy who's susceptible to defenses making plays on the football against him. Painful. The pain was real. Hey, by the way, just in case you didn't know, my prediction was for the Dolphins to win 33-23. I might have been wrong about our score, but I got the 23 right for the Chargers. All right. Continuing on, let's get into the next gen stats because I told all y'all yesterday I couldn't wait to see these because it was going to tell you exactly what I told y'all. We do this every week, and we are about to see Brock Purdy's passing chart on steroids. Here is where everything was, and I want y'all to see the vast difference. And then when you take into context of how both were playing, you're going to ask yourself, why didn't you adjust? Check this. Look at this. Are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me right now? Count them with me, people. All right? We'll give the ones at the 10 line to you, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 throws either at the sticks, which I mean either at 10-yard mark or beyond, and the guy threw it 51 times. 37 of his 51 throws in front of the sticks. Even better, check this. Out of the 14 he threw, he only completed, let's count them with me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's not like this man was just sitting there and absolutely dicing us. This is literally, if you guys watch me week in, week out, this is Brock Purdy's, this is literally his passing chart on steroids. And this is what we should have done. Herbert took what the defense gave him. They called high percentage throws based off of Eckler's game. And look at the success they had. You got a bigger arm than Purdy, so you can do more things with Herbert when you draw those defenders up. That's why they threw the ball 37 times in front of the 10-yard mark. Because it's an extension of the running game, drawing everyone up into the box and into the flats. And if you don't, then we'll just eat you underneath. Now, let's switch over to Tua. And let's see the drastic difference. Look at this. The man threw the ball 28 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 of his 28 throws beyond the sticks. Almost half of his throws beyond the sticks. And he only completed 3 of them, and you kept pressing it. Why? Why? Why are you going to keep pressing it beyond the sticks, almost half of his throws beyond the sticks, when he's not making it happen? Why do that? Justin Vandenberg, please tell me you haven't turned on Tua. No, I haven't turned on Tua, bro. Come on. Listen, I'm not going to let 2 bad games define this guy's season. We got to let this season play out. I have not turned on him. So, listen. They literally told you what they should have done. This is literally screaming, stop throwing beyond the sticks. And we kept throwing beyond the sticks. I mean, it's okay to check down to a... It's okay. And what's crazy here is one of these throws you're seeing on the right. Here. One of these throws on the right here. In that cluster of 3. One of those is, remember all game I said, where are the shallow crossers, drags, the speed outs. One of those is a speed out where they hit Waddle. And he took it 19 yards up the right sideline. A guy who had been disappeared all game. Look at the middle of the field, too. Screaming. You got to go outside the hashes. Right? This is screaming. Eat in the flats. Or eat outside the hashes, outside the numbers. from the 0 to 10 yard mark, from the short level, on that first level there. That's what this is screaming. And you don't even need to see this chart. You could have just been watching the game yesterday and you would have known that. That's what's amazing about that. Those charts, literally, I called them yesterday because you just knew. You saw it develop like that. Come on, man. A guy on YouTube shouldn't be figuring out adjustments for an offense that's struggling before a guy who's getting paid millions of dollars. And everyone knows I'm a huge McDaniel fan. But let's be real here. The guy on YouTube shouldn't be figuring this stuff out, man. And you know I'm going to figure it out even more when I break down the tape for all y'all tomorrow night. Anyways, let's get into the next gen stats. Here we go. The deepest, longest completed air distance, Justin Herbert, 51.6 yards. Tua Tagovailoa, 41.4. Give me a sec here, guys. All right, fastest ball carrier for the Dolphins was Tyreek Hill, and in the game, 21.78. Guy was just blazing. Mike Williams, 19.13. You know, Scotty, I gotta go off script here for a sec here because Scotty just said something. The homie Scotty Joe just said something. I gotta pop it up here for y'all. I'm gonna address this real quick because I was wrong. I gotta admit, when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Where are you, Scotty? Scotty. There you are, my boy. He says, I wish we had Micah Parsons. Brother, the move, it wasn't Bradley Chubb. It was Roquan Smith. Man. That was the move. That's what we messed up. That would have upgraded us. That was the move. Anyways, Jalen Phillips, fastest sack, 2.6. Morgan Fox, 3.8. You see passing here again. Tua, they had him. Oh, look at that. Them and PFF align. They had him 1 for 5, and then they had him 2 for 6. Right? Herbert, from the 10 to 20 level, they had him 7 for 10, and then he was 1 for 2 from 20 and beyond. And then where are we going here? Oh yeah, they were 8. Oh, so they're counting those as in front of the sticks. Those ones we gave him at the sticks, they're counting them as in front of the sticks. They had him 8 for 10, and then 3 for 5 and 6 for 7, just murdering us inside. Like, oh my god, look at that. Look at 7 for 7 to the left, 6 for 6. Bro, the guy threw behind the line of scrimmage 14 times. So they got 36 from 0 to 10, 36 of his 51 attempts from behind the line of scrimmage to the 10-yard mark. Rushing the football, not much. Raheem Mostert found some luck hitting the interior gaps. There you see what Jeff Wilson had his luck before he got hurt. Austin Eckler, surprise, left edge is where he found most of his. Joshua Kelly found his left side into the gaps. Receiving, this is going to be interesting. So this is what the separation was. Hill and Waddle apparently were over 2 yards. Gesicki was about 1.29. Now, everyone but Sherfield here is under the league average. But they're saying the average separation was 2.77 yards for Hill and 2.47 for Waddle. Again, we'll have to tape the All-22 tomorrow night. Me and Martin will break it down, and we'll see. And then you look at the separation those guys were getting. Holy jeez. Everyone was above the league average on their chart. Everyone. Unreal. Wow. And then pass rush. There you go. Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips, the closest in terms of average separation from the QB, and both beat the league average, while Siler and Wilkins just behind it. On the other side, no one was inside the league average. And yet they still got sacks. because why not? Because why not? All right. Now, I wanted to play this. Here's Mike McDaniel today. He was asked about Byron Jones, and then he was asked about the run game. And this is what he had to say.
A quick Byron Jones question because it's Monday.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? His prospects of practicing and playing this week, and then we've heard about injured players, Teron Armstead, Brandon Jones, sitting in meeting rooms with their groups. Has Byron Jones been in meeting rooms with the cornerbacks?
He has been involved and been in meeting rooms, and during the course of the year, and there's been portions of the year that it was best served for him to try to utilize that time, whatever the schedule was, to rehab and do things of that nature. I'm very, very happy and comfortable with the players that we've been playing with at that position all season, and I'm more focused on that, and I see Byron as a bonus that I don't rule out anything, but my expectations or I'm a lot less at this stage in the season. I'm not that would be an awesome addition, but I'm really not counting on it or
there you go.
Just more focused on the guys that we do have.
There you go. Not counting on it. There you go. Not counting on it when it comes to Byron Jones. Byron done.
What was the biggest issue?
Played his last game for the Miami Dolphins.
This is part of it. This time of year, obviously, the talk is the running game has to because of the weather, especially where you're going. So part two is how do you get the running game more to where you guys want it?
No, it was you talk about a frustrating film to watch was just taking that to the face because I think we're capable of executing on a multitude of fronts that we didn't, and so then my job is to really assess what are the common denominators. One thing that stood out on both sides of the ball were in certain situations. There were guys went from playing within their assignment on both offense and defense to getting into a mode where, hey, I'm going to make the play. And that is an understandable emotion from competitors that are highly invested, but you have to learn sometimes the hard way, and unfortunately, I feel like that was the case with us yesterday. That you don't do that in 11-on-11 football with any sort of consistency or success. So I saw, guys kind of, on offense, maybe adjusting a route or trying to strain another revolution before looking for the ball, or maybe attacking a read that wasn't necessarily primary in the progression, or maybe there was a couple instances of guys really trying to engulf the defender at the expense of what our foundational techniques of how to block people, and as a result kind of got out of position. Defensively, I saw guys be very gap sound and rush conscious when in terms of getting after the quarterback, but then all of a sudden in one series voiding rush lanes or jumping out of gaps. It wasn't one player, it wasn't one position, it wasn't it wasn't one side of the ball. So to me, that's very telling in terms of there's a lot of guys pressing, and the job of the coaching staff, the job of the players, all of us collectively, is to identify why and fix it. because it's not. No one else is going to fix it for us, and if we want different results, we're going to have to, kind of address things that are difficult. It's difficult to, like I said before, fully invest into something and then fall short. But to me, that's where people are made or broke in this league. It's how you respond to stuff. It's no coincidence that my first mantra is adversity is an opportunity. You see this coming a mile away, and you're not void of this in any sort of successful season. This is the name of the game, but you have to be able to, as a group, have a collection of people that are willing to be accountable, and while also, being able to handle that emotional letdown, because it's a lot of investment. And guys were in the tank. They did not expect that result. But it's the National Football League. You have to learn that when certain things don't get done, you shouldn't expect anything less. That was a good football team that had all of their reasons to go ahead and try to win that game. And you know what? They did.
Desperate team.
You have to live with that. I think if you have a chance to be happy with your game, season, year, career, if in those moments you say, okay, you know what, this is hard. That means this is just my style. I'm willing to look myself in the mirror and see how we can adjust. And to me, you all of those things will handle themselves if collectively we're able to do that. It's a tough task, but winning's tough. Playing good football's tough.
Did he even address the run game? In that whole answer, did he even address the run game? You were specifically asked about getting the run game going, and you gave me this long-winded answer. About it's tough to win football games. Bro, I don't care about that. We're asking about the run game. Because now even the idiotic South Floridian media is going, where's the run game, bro? I sat there and I listened to you for 5 minutes for your answer, and I didn't get no answer about the run game. I didn't get no reasoning why. You're getting away from it and you're not leaning on it when it's giving you bursts, when it's showing you at stop. My Lord. Answer the question. Stay on track. Jeez Louise. And yeah, like you said, he said, and I quote, I'm not counting on it when it comes to Byron Jones. So you could basically count, like I said, heading into the bye week. Don't have your expectations set for this team moving forward with Byron Jones as part of the equation. And now the coach is basically telling you that. It took him how many weeks to finally tell us that when I was telling you this weeks ago? Anyways, let's get into article here. We got a couple things from Barry Jackson, a couple things to go over here. What must happen for Miami Dolphins to make the playoffs and what leaves them at risk? Because remember, it wasn't good that we lost to the Chargers in terms of they put us at risk if they start going off. Then I began with Chris Collinsworth speaking of the Dolphins as Super Bowl contenders. It ended with the sobering conclusion: the Dolphins, per the standings and the eye test, it seemed closer to either missing the playoffs or just barely making it than playing into February. The Dolphins' 23-17 loss to the Chargers on Sunday night left them long shots to win the AFC East and facing the likelihood of opening the playoffs on the road against a very good team if they make it at all. Miami stands 6th in the conference, one game ahead of the Chargers, who surpassed their 7-6 Jets for 7th and the final playoff seed. But the Chargers own the tiebreaker with Miami and have an easier remaining schedule. And the 5th-seeded Bengals not only have a better road record than Miami, but also own the tiebreaker as well. But here's the good news. Even with a loss at Buffalo, the Dolphins can make the playoffs by beating the Patriots and the Jets, regardless of the result of a home game against the Green Bay Packers. The Dolphins, beyond the Saturday night game at Buffalo on a short week, play host to the Packers on Christmas, then play at New England on January 1st, and then close out at home against the Jets, who have a defense far superior to the Chargers unit that held Tua Tagovailoa to 10 for 28 passing and limited the Dolphins' offense to 219 yards. Conversely, the Chargers play Tennessee, at the Colts, then the Rams, and then at Denver. If the Chargers leapfrog Miami, then the Dolphins must hope that the Jets or the Patriots do not leapfrog them for the final playoff spot. The Dolphins still have a 73% chance to make the playoffs per 538.com's postseason calculator. That would fall a bit to 68% if the Dolphins lose at Buffalo, and to 63% if the Dolphins lose in Buffalo and the Jets beat visiting Detroit on Sunday. If the Dolphins lose to the Bills and the Jets beat the Lions, both Miami and New York would be 8-6, but the Jets would own the tiebreaker, at least heading into their January 8th finale. The next division tiebreaker after head-to-head is division record. If the Dolphins beat the Jets on January 8th to split the season series, Miami would own the tiebreaker by virtue of a better division record. Here's why. If the Dolphins lose at the Bills and the Patriots, the division record will be 2-3. The Jets' division record is already 2-3. So if Miami wins the January 8th finale and the teams have the same record, Miami would go to the playoffs, presuming the Patriots don't bump both of them. So if the Dolphins get to 10 wins by beating the Patriots and the Jets, they're in the playoffs. But if the Jets win the January 8th finale and the teams have the same record, the Jets would finish ahead of Miami and knock the Dolphins out of the playoffs. If the Chargers can hold on to their playoff spot right now, that is. The Jets finish with home games against Detroit and Jacksonville and then play Seattle on the road. So if the Dolphins and Jets are tied after next weekend, there's a decent chance a playoff berth will be on the line when the teams meet at Hard Rock in Week 18. The Dolphins' expectations, at least before their 2-game California trip crashed and burned, far exceeded sneaking into the playoffs as a wild card. Keep in mind that all three wild card teams play on the road in the first weekend of the playoffs. Division winners get home field advantage that first weekend, regardless of the records, with top seed getting a bye. So the wildcard team with the worst record plays at the division winner with the second best record, which would be the 10-3 Chiefs at the moment. With Miami now 2 games behind 10-3 Buffalo, the Dolphins have only a 7% chance to win the AFC East and get the first round home game. Those division winning odds would shrink to 0.5% if Miami loses Saturday at Buffalo. The Bills win on Saturday. The Dolphins would need to win their last 3, and the Bills would need to lose their last 3 for Miami to win the division. And the odds of Miami winning the division would be only 29% if the Dolphins win at Buffalo, even though Miami would own the tiebreaker with the Bills. Here's why. Even with the upset victory on Saturday, Miami would need to either win its final 3 games and hope the Bills lose once amongst its remaining 3, which is at Chicago, at Cincinnati, and home against New England, or the Dolphins would need to win 2 of their final 3 and hope the Bills lose twice. Unless the Dolphins can overcome great odds to win the AFC East, the best case scenario would be hoping to finish with the best record among the wild card teams, which likely would require a 3-1 finish at the very least. That would likely mean a road game for the weakest of the division winners, which would be the Tennessee Titans right now. For Miami, the 5th seed scenario could be achieved by winning out after losing at Buffalo, by the Chargers losing once, and by the Bengals beating the Ravens in Ohio on January 8th, and Baltimore losing at least one other game. The scenario would leave the Dolphins and Ravens with the same record and Miami with the 5th seed because it owns the tiebreaker. You know, for me, it's just sad to know that basically.
A quick Byron Jones question,
you know,
because it's Monday.
Why not?
It's sad for me to realize that, you know, man, the division's pretty much lost. You know what I mean? Like, just tough, man. When at 8-3 we were sitting pretty and we had all the hope in the world. You know what I mean? So, is what it is, I guess, though, right? Now, getting into this other article from the Miami Herald. Let's get into it. I just want to show that we don't have to go over the position notes because we kind of already have with the snap counts earlier. But for the first time in 2 months, Tua Tagovailoa no longer leads the NFL in passer rating, having narrowly been eclipsed by Philadelphia quarterback and former Alabama teammate Jalen Hurts. 108.4 to 108.2. The far bigger concern is figuring out what has happened to the quarterback who had been the NFL's most accurate passer through the first 12 weeks of the season. After completing 68% of his passes during Miami's 8-3 start, Tagovailoa has completed just 45.9% in the past 2 losses to the 49ers and Chargers, and just 35.7% on Sunday night against the Chargers defense that ranked 4th worst in points allowed and was missing 2 starters in the secondary. To play the way we played, especially on my part, that's unacceptable, said Tagovailoa. It was 145 yards passing on Sunday, where it's fewest in a game that he has completed this season. Very disappointing to go out as an offense and show what we showed. That's not to our standards. That's not how we play football. We work too hard to put up a performance like that, to not be in rhythm on time with certain throws. We felt like we had some momentum, and then something happens, whether it's a penalty or we get stopped on a play. The Chargers pressed the Dolphins receivers at the line and clogged the middle of the field with extra defenders, taking away some of the inside routes that have been so successful this season. In the first half on Sunday, Tagovailoa was 0 for 5 on routes in the middle of the field. Per PFF, Tagovailoa completed just 2 passes that traveled more than 10 yards downfield inside the numbers. As perspective, he was completing 7 such passes per game since returning from injury in Week 7. The defenses we played have been playing exactly what we expected them to play, what they put on film, Tagovailoa said of the 49ers and Chargers. But Terron Armstead disagreed with that, saying the Chargers did some things different than they had seen all season. A lot of pressures from different spots, more than they had all season. That's a sign of respect for our explosive offense. And receiver Jalen Waddle said they got us off their rhythm. They had a good game plan and stuck to it. They were giving us a lot of different looks, bringing a lot of exotic pressures. Tagovailoa's season stats are still sterling, 22 touchdowns and 5 picks, but he has dropped to 17th in completion percentage at 65.5. Tagovailoa blamed everything from the communication to getting the details right with our guys. We're not dialed in on that. We have to go back to the drawing board and figure it out. And now he must do it against the nemesis Bills, who lost to the Dolphins in Week 2, but one of the 3 other games that Tagovailoa started against them, including one when he was knocked out early last season with a rib injury. Tagovailoa's passer rating against the Bills is a meager 69.5, worst amongst the 6 teams that he has played more than once in his career, and 2nd worst overall. He also struggled in cold weather, 30-degree temperatures, and snow are expected in Buffalo this weekend. We've got to turn the page quick because we've got a really good team next week as well, he said. We're going to get it fixed. Tagovailoa recently told CBS that he looked at himself in the mirror and asked, "Do I suck last season?" He cannot allow this slump to shatter his confidence. "I don't think the confidence has wavered at all," Waddle said. His confidence ain't going nowhere. I mean, let's just get back to the fundamentals and let's just make the adjustments, man. Short stuff. You got to dink and dunk to open it up. That's it. That's it. And we've done it every week. Why not do it? Bad news, ladies and gentlemen. Tua Tagovailoa has dropped to the 3rd most efficient quarterback in the NFL after his last 2 displays. He was almost off the chart to the far right, destroying everyone in efficiency. And these last 2 games have actually really affected it and dropped him to the 3rd most efficient quarterback in the NFL right now. We do it every week. Hey, just because he has a bad game doesn't mean we're going to stop being objective over here. Is what it is. That is where he is efficiency wise right now. Hey, you had to expect it after what we'd seen. And then finally, I know they showed us from 538 or whatever it's called, but we looked over this. Let's look over it again. All right, the New York Times, and they currently have us at a 69% chance. If we win in Buffalo, it jumps up to 87%. And then if we win again, if we win the next 2 games, we're at 94%. Now, if we lose at Buffalo, that drops us down to about 63%. And then if we win against the Packers, bumps us up to 76. Win against the Patriots, and we're, pretty much in. So, yes, we can afford to lose this, but I think for the confidence of this team, gotta win this game. Gotta win this game. Gotta win this game. All right? I don't know what else to say. So, and it says here, I mean, they've got us hosting wild card at about a 5% chance. Wild card at a 63% and out 31% right now. So, there you go. That's what it sits like in terms of where we're at percentage-wise. 69, nice. Let's get it done, baby. I need all of y'all to help me out. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. We recently passed 10,200. We're on our way to 11K. Let's get there. You know, we got some stuff going on. You know, I've gotten some interesting text messages today. I saw all y'all were talking about Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay in the chat earlier. Listen, I got a tidbit about Green Bay today and Miami, but it had nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers. I'll just tell you that. So, and I'm reluctant to put these up on Patreon or whatever. I'll talk about them maybe if things. Now I have put my receipts in place and told a certain person so he knows where the first time he ever heard it was from today. And you got to put the receipts in place. But, you know, listen, let's get back to our winning ways. I don't know what else to say. We got to get back to our winning ways. Tua and McDaniel have got to get this figured out. All right? We saw Tua getting so frustrated that nothing was open. We saw him running for the first time in weeks. We got to get these guys open, man. I mean, Next Gen Stats says that. We'll be diving into the All-22 tonight. I'll be chopping it up tonight. We'll be breaking it down tomorrow. Me and Martin will be live tomorrow night. We'll be bringing that All-22 to all of y'all. You already know what time it is. We break it down whether it's good or bad. We never waver. So we'll be breaking it down. We're going to get a lot of answers on the All-22 tomorrow, and I can't wait. I'm excited to get some answers on the All-22 tomorrow. Let's start figuring things out. Let's start figuring out what needs to be done. I think we've already got it. I think I've already pretty much put my thumb on it with McDaniel and the adjustments that need to be made. But, hey, let's see what they do this week. I'm going to tell you this because, hey, you keep the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So if we come out this week and we're doing the same exact thing, I might lose my mind on freaking stream. You might see it this week. Anyways, listen. Yeah, Zach Charbonnet is that dude, man. Man, we've been talking about him since last year on this channel. Zach Charbonnet. This running back class is amazing. We got to get a running back in this class. I think we need a dynamic safety valve that can threaten as a pass catcher and as a runner. I will see all of y'all tomorrow night. Me and the homie Martin. Shout out to Junior. He said, is Kahoot currently our best CB? Yes, Junior, he is. Yes, Junior, he currently is our best CB. Yes, he is right now. Yep, 110%. Xavier Howard's struggling, and we're paying him all that money. Listen, love each and every one of you. See all y'all tomorrow. Film study tomorrow. Richmond Webb in the finish line on Wednesday, and we get into Bills week. Let's go. We got work to take care of. Fins up all day, every day. Love each and every